farmers, you make a lot of tough choices. Advances in seed genetics, new fertilizer application methods, site-specific farming, tillage options, and harvest equipment. You have more options today than ever before, but your margin for error has never been smaller. With today's commodity prices, every bushel counts. You've got to make the right choices to ensure high yields and protect your bottom line. The truth is, your harvest starts here. If maximum economic yields are your priority, then your most important resource is your planting equipment. Put plainly, no other input is more important to your yields. Herbicide, insecticide, fertilizer, none of it is more important than getting your crop off to the right start. For a solid stand, your equipment must put seed where you want it, in the bottom of the seed trench. For a uniform emergence, seeds must be placed at the same depth and evenly firmed into moist soil. Accurate seed placement and good seed-to-soil contact have a huge impact on yields. The proof is in the field. A recent demonstration project tested 13 different planting machines. Some plots had higher seeding rates than Great Plains and some had lower rates. But the Great Plains drill produced the highest yield, 5.6 bushels above the average. Why? Because high population rates can't make up for uneven emergence. You can argue about ideal seeding rates, but it doesn't matter if your seeds don't come up at the same time. Look at these soybeans photographed at harvest. In the spring, researchers went through the field at intervals of 50 heat units and marked emerging plants. In the Corn Belt, 50 heat units roughly equals 2.5 days. These soybeans emerged 50 heat units, or just 2.5 growing days after the others. You can see they have only half as many pods. These soybeans came up 5 days later at 100 heat units. And these plants, you can barely call them soybeans, came up just 150 heat units, or 7.5 days late. It probably would have been better if these beans had not come up at all. The world's best combine can't harvest soybeans that aren't there. Your harvest really does start at planting time. And harvesting more crop is the key to profitability. Let's say you plant 500 acres of soybeans. With an extra 5.6 bushels per acre and soybeans at $6 per bushel, you just made an additional $16,800. If you didn't get those extra bushels per acre, your planting equipment just got a lot more expensive. Is your planting equipment robbing your yields and your profits? Let's take a closer look. Great Plains mounted a high-speed camera behind the openers of a John Deere 750 drill, the John Deere 450, a Case IH 5400, and a Great Plains 00 series. We originally recorded this high-speed video to help us develop a better seed tube, but we learned a lot more. Filmed under identical field conditions, this footage is grainy, but it clearly shows that all openers are not equal. The John Deere 750 is outfitted with single disc openers. The single disc opens a slit and seed is directed towards the ground. Notice how fast the seed is moving as it hits the ground and how much the seed bounces as a result. To help prevent seed bounce, John Deere adds a trailing flap behind the seed tube. But as you can see, it doesn't help much. Seed still bounces out of the trench. As long as you see seeds, you know they are not being planted at a consistent depth. The John Deere 450 and 455 are outfitted with double disc openers. Lightweight construction allows the openers to bounce in hard soils. Just as important, seed is released at the disc bearing, 6 inches above the soil surface. And as you can see, as soon as seed leaves the opener disc, there's no direction to it at all. Seed is scattered, not planted. Case IH has good intentions with the double disc openers on its 5400 drill. On the Case IH opener, seed is released ahead of the disc bearing, almost at the disc contact point. In theory, the double discs carry the seed back into the trench, directing seed travel. Here is the result. Because the opener doesn't control the seed on its way to the trench, much of the seed bounces back up at the camera. By the time seed does reach the ground, dirt already has fallen into the trench. So much for firming seeds at the same depth. Compare these pictures to the Great Plains opener. The drill we filmed has 00 series straight arm openers. Like all Great Plains openers, 00 series openers have offset double discs solid construction, and heavy-duty springs. Take off one of the opener discs, and you can see that Great Plains has given thought to the most critical point, where seed hits the soil. Our elongated seed tube places seed in the very bottom of the seed trench. A flap, mounted on the nut bar, keeps seed from bouncing out of the trench. The trailing seed lock wheel then immediately firms the seed into the moist soil. Let's look at each of these components at work. Rather than dropping seeds from a height of 6 inches, you can see how Great Plains' long, curved seed tube puts seed in the very bottom of the seed trench. But we didn't stop there. Here, we've added the trailing flap that keeps any strays from bouncing out of the trench. Finally, Great Plains closes the deal with the seed lock firming wheel. Painted white for clarity, you can see the wheel pressing seeds into the soil beneath the collapsing trench, all at the same depth. From this vantage point, the difference is obvious. You will also see the difference in emergence and at harvest. This film footage isn't surprising when you consider the source. For more than 20 years, Great Plains has been developing seeding into a science. We focus on the latest field data and newest technologies to perfect seeding accuracy. That's why we went to the trouble of recording this high-speed footage. What you are seeing is a Great Plains exclusive. If any other company has recorded video like this, they probably wouldn't have shown it to you, and you can see why. Because we treat seeding like a science, our openers outperform the competition at planting time and ultimately at harvest. Our new seed tubes and flaps are just the latest in a long line of innovations. Our disc blades are offset a 1/4 inch for superior penetration and long blade life. We use solid, planter-style seed tubes in our drill openers. Great Plains' exclusive seed lock firming wheel was developed to firm every seed into moist soil at the same depth. Thanks for taking time to see how important seed placement and seed-to-soil contact are to your bottom line. Your Great Plains dealer can show you our full line of equipment. From 7-foot end-wheel models to 40-foot folding air drills, all of our implements are built with high-quality, heavy-duty construction and superior seeding technologies. Most importantly, all of our implements turn seeding into a science. Science and common sense tell you that you cannot neglect your planting equipment. High-speed video, yield data, and millions of planted acres show that Great Plains equipment is superior in seed placement and seed-to-soil contact. You face a lot of tough choices, but this one is simple. Your key to seeding success and profitability is Great Plains.